Cool. Well, thank you for having me here tonight. I was asked to talk about the end-to-end process of how we launched a product recently at Even. So I'll start a little bit with my background, talk about Even, and then take you through one of our most recent product launches, which is actually set to go live this week. So a little bit of background on myself. I started a company called Birch about 4 years ago now. Even acquired us about 10 months ago. So I moved from San Francisco to New York and joined the community out here. I'm now one of our strategy leads at Even, basically helping commercialize new products and figure out where we should launch and enter into. So for some background on Even, we are a search, comparison, and recommendation API for financial products. So what that means is that we sit in between publishers and advertisers, with the publishers being anyone who you would traditionally think in financial services. So someone like CNN Money or the Penny Hoarder or Credit.com, and then financial institutions. So it could be Prosper, SoFi, or Lending Club, or next-gen banks like Empower or Aspiration. And what we do is we act as infrastructure and help our partners on the publisher side monetize through financial product recommendations without integrating to 30 or 40 different financial institutions. And on the FI side, we help drive new customer acquisition and save them the headache of dealing with 40 or 50 or right now we have over 200 different partners on the publishing side. They don't have to deal with the management or maintenance or payouts or anything like that. And traditionally in financial services, most of it has been display advertising. So you go on a website and there's a banner ad for American Express or Marcus. And we're moving away from that and building things like pre-approval all the way up the funnel. So you can be on a publisher site and actually see pre-approved lending offers from over 30 or 40 different lending partners as a consumer. So you're not leaving this experience, going to 10 different lenders and seeing which ones you're pre-approved for. You can actually see that all the way on the publisher site. So monetization rates are a lot higher, RPMs are a lot higher for our publishers, and overall it's just a better experience for consumers. And so we've started with personal loans. We recently launched into high-yield savings accounts, so cash management accounts, online savings. I'm going to talk about our credit card launch, which is happening this week. And then later this year, we're moving into mortgages, insurance products, and eventually wealth management products. So basically anything that you could traditionally go into a branch and open up, we're bringing into our platform so you can do all in an open API. So one integration connects to many partners. So with the bank, they can build on top of our open API, which is unique. We're not building all these bespoke integrations for every single FI that we partner with. Once they do that, then they have access to all these different publishers and channel partners on the other side. So it could be editorial, all the way down to someone like a tax prep software who can recommend a savings account when you get your tax return. And there's a few different types of integrations that we work through. So for our partners that are not as technically savvy, we can give them embeddable widgets to put on their websites, or link outs to partner pages that are white labeled, so they don't have to build on top of our API. But then we have partners like Pocket Guard who will build on top of our API and build these custom native experiences to monetize through whatever products are on our API across all those different financial verticals. And so here's an example, and Pocket Guard, you can see how they've built savings recommendations right within their experience. So it starts with some sort of tile or notification. We don't ever dictate how one of our partners should build their experience or how they should make recommendations. We just facilitate the actual offer. So instead of them having to go to American Express and spend 10 months working through that BD cycle, we give them access to the American Express online savings account so they can monetize their consumers by linking out to the American Express savings. So I'll walk through our credit card vertical and how we, determined that was a market that we wanted to launch into. So all the way from the discovery through the actual scoping and then into the launch of that vertical, which is happening this week. So within Even, we've got all these different phases of how a new project or initiative will flow through. So it starts really with the market research and partnerships, which is more so on the side that I sit in strategy. Moves into strategy concept, or we're kind of coming up with what exists in the space, what can be improved on, where are the opportunities, what does the market look like. And then it's a collaboration with product on how we figure out what it is that we're actually building that's going to talk to consumers, or how our API is going to work for our partners that are built on that. all the way then through scoping and tech design, building it, testing it, and then an analysis. We use Looker, and I've got some examples of how we use Looker to monitor ongoing KPIs, all the way through launching on our channel partners, and then post-production, focusing on growth and scale and ongoing monetization. And you can see kind of where the different business units on the far left fit within these different phases of our product development cycle. So for credit cards specifically, strategy was tasked with doing the market research. We do a knowledge share across the company, so anyone that wants to sit in on that can learn about how the credit card space works, who's currently operating in it, how affiliate models work, how banks monetize, how they work with us, what sort of metrics they're looking for. We sized up the market to figure out what our opportunity looks like for launching into the credit card vertical. We looked at existing user journeys, looked internally in our partners, who we were partnered with currently that had a credit card on the FI side, and then which of our channel partners would be a good fit with their audience for monetizing through credit card recommendations. And then we came up with the strategy concept of what we think is the opportunity to build and what that product looks like in the space. And so you can see the few different slides that came out of the knowledge share. So we looked at the business opportunity. Credit cards is an enormous market. I mean, it's Credit Karma's entire business. NerdWallet is doing $200 or $300 million a year in revenue from credit card referrals. And so what we're doing is building this open API that allows our partners who don't have the BD resources to compete with someone like a Credit Karma or a NerdWallet. We looked at customer segments and figured out, in these different audiences. So it starts very subprime, moves all the way to near prime, prime, and super prime, how they actually went through the journey of opening up a credit card currently and what resources were available. And then we looked at the total addressable market to figure out that there's 7.5 million accounts annually that are opened through third-party affiliates. And it's about almost $2 billion in affiliate spend for someone like us to hopefully capture and unlock through having an open API in the space. So if you're an engineer or a product person here, you're probably familiar with an RFC. At Even, we have the concept of a biz RFC, and I know it kind of sounds weird at first, but it really is just an initiative doc that we'd like comments on. So it's a request for comments around what the scope of a new initiative looks like. And it's something that we came up with that we can design and write up pre-passing to product and engineering so that they get a full understanding of how the market works and what needs to get built. And so really it helps us and product stay on the same page when we're building out something that's very cross-functional. In this case, any new vertical launch touches almost every single person in the business. We're about 70 people now across all these different business units. So it's really important that we had a source of truth and something that stayed a source of truth as we went from conceptualization to scoping to launch. And so this is an example. I whited out some of the partners that we work with since they have their own tickets. And you can see kind of what this biz RFC contains. So then we work with product on figuring out a bunch of, we went through iterations of what the actual flows of this product should look like, how it should interact with the consumer, how the API should be set up so that our partners can build on top of it. You can see some of the flows that we went through, all the different mocks that our UX team created. And through iterations, we're able to get to a point where we were comfortable with an end result, comfortable with handling all of the states of the product design, and ultimately get to a point where we could ticket, scope it, and then build it. And so now moving on to the development piece of the R&D. So really, once it's scoped in their RFC, it goes from ticketing to build into testing. We have a faux consumer brand that we always launch on first to make sure things are not broken, because most of the time they are, and we have to fix it. And then prepping for launch. When we go out into production and launch with real channel partners, we don't want things broken. We don't want reporting not hooked up. There's a lot of moving pieces that we're prepping for in this launch. And so really, I'm on the strategy team, and then I have my product counterparts. They're the ones who are scoping and creating the tickets, at least, that engineers are building. And then once we get to prepping for launch, it kind of comes full circle, and we collaborate on a successful launch with the rest of the business units. And so, part of this is what it looks like, at least on our site. Our faux consumer brand is highfiona.com. So you can see we have live card offers on there. They're hooked up to a bunch of different affiliate platforms that all the different issuers use. And then this widget is built on top of our API. And so partners who want to recommend credit cards to their consumers can either use our embeddable widgets or build on top of the same thing that we've built on top of in our test environment. And then we do a slow coordinated rollout with monitoring. And then you can see I scrubbed a lot of the data on here, but we have Looker reports set up pre-launch to make sure that we are tracking properly, backing into our own KPIs. And again, everyone's on the same page. So if you want to know how the credit cards vertical is going, you can go in and see how it's actually performing over time. And it's launching this week, so that'll be something that everyone's probably staring at pretty closely over the next month. And that's it. That's a walkthrough of how we at Even went from conceptualization of a new market we wanted to launch into to actually getting it live in the next few days. Thank you.